Coming up next, I'll give you some tips for hourly workers that have been financially affected by the coronavirus. We'll talk about the law of the zip code. We'll take your calls and your chats, and it all starts right now. I am coming to you live from Ramsey Studios in Nashville, and you are joining a conversation about who you are, what you were created to do, where you want to do it, and how you can get there. It's all about working on purpose. I believe with everything in my being that you were created to fill a unique role through your work, a contribution. And that makes you tremendously valuable, but it also puts a tremendous sense of duty on you that you've got to be you. Somebody out there needs you to be you. And so that's what we do every day. Welcome to the program. Our numbers are growing, and we're grateful for that. You're going to get a hopeful message. You're going to get a practical message here. And I am here for you, 844-747-2577. Now, we take calls. Hey, Ken, I'm trying to figure out what I want to do. Or, hey, Ken, I just got fired. What do I do? A lot of stuff happening right now. And we're always talking about your job as it relates to your purpose, helping you figure out what that is, helping you figure out how to get there. But I also want to acknowledge there's so much uncertainty right now that this is a safe place for you. If you want to call in today, 844-747-2577, or you want to chat your question in the chat room, we're going to get to those too. But a little bit later in the program, I'm going to ask you how you feel about where we sit right now. Certainly in the American economy, we have people that watch from all around the world, the global economy as well. I want to know what you really think. So more than ever today and over the next few days, I want to get a sense on social media, here on our YouTube show, through the radio, Sirius XM and beyond. I want to know what you're thinking and feeling with what's going on. Tips for hourly workers impacted by coronavirus-related financial strains. A good article from Career Builder. And this is just some good thoughts to have and some actions. I'll touch on those in a minute. Let's roll through this real quick. Number one, use your transferable skills to find a new hourly job that allows you to work from home if possible. Two, look for contract work and opportunities that are fueled by the gig economy. So, hey, this is a gig, so think like Uber and things of that nature. Now, this is not a great example in this moment, right? But that's an example of what the gig economy is, because essentially Uber brought in this term, gig economy. This idea of it's not a full-time career, but it's a great gig for me to make extra money. Three, your skills and how they could translate to salaried positions that may allow for work from home and ultimately progress your career as we move back to some type of normal work patterns. And then four, search for opportunities within industries responding to the coronavirus. Again, silver lining here, it's not all bad news right now, but the reality is that there are industries that are booming right now. And if you've got to pivot just to bring in some income and not just rely on unemployment. This is really for hourly workers that because of the stoppage of consumer behavior, that's all this is. But it is crippling companies because we've just said you have to stay at home. That's what our leaders have said. Okay. So the reality is that right now, I don't think you should settle. I talked about this yesterday on the program. I want you taking ideas like this. Okay, what are my skills that I have, even if I had a salaried position and I was in this career space over here, but temporarily, because of the economy, I've been let go. What can I do? Where can I do it? Transfer those skills. That's what we're saying here. Looking for opportunities in this gig economy that, again, are doing very well because of the demand increasing in certain areas brought on by the coronavirus. And be thinking ahead. You know, if you didn't love your job, and that's 70% of Americans, and you got kicked out of it, that's no fun because you want to be able to dictate your own timeline. The fact of the matter is, now's a good time for you to take an assessment and be prepared for the future. 844-747-2577. Before we get to the phones, here's the question. And we're going to get some questions from you in the chat room. But I've got the team monitoring this. And I'm going to give you multiple ways to give me this answer, okay? So here in the chat room right now, you can email the show, ask@kencoleman.com. You can reach out to me on Twitter, @KenColeman, Instagram, @KenColeman. Our Facebook page is, just search the Ken Coleman Show on Facebook. But I want to hear from you. And by the way, you can call in too. here's what I want to know. We just heard crazy unemployment numbers just in the last week, 6.6 million people. And it's bigger than that, but that's just the last week. We are quickly approaching percentages that are going to be greater than the Great Depression of unemployment. But understand, folks, that a month ago we had the lowest rate in the history of our country at 3.5%. So this big stoppage, I want to know what you think. And I'm not looking for a debate. I want to know, what do you think that our governors and our president and our Congress should be doing as it relates to this social distancing, shelter at home, nobody working, just very few people working? I want to know what you think. I'm not interested in what the blue check marks on Twitter are saying. I'm not interested in what the media is saying. I want to honestly know, because I'm getting media opportunities and I want to be a voice of the people. I truly want to know. What are you saying? Is there a balance? Is there better public policy to protect those that are vulnerable and mitigate the spread, but also get back to work? I want to know what you think, because I think there's so much shame and so much criticism out there. I just want to know what you're saying in your houses. I want to know what you're saying to people you talk to. I want to know what you're texting folks. So fire away. I want to know. Can we keep staying at home for 28 more days, even longer? Can we cripple and destroy the economy in a matter of days and months? Can we do that? Should we do that? I want to know what you think. Fire away. 844-747-2577. 844-747-2577. Let's go to Abigail, who joins us in Las Vegas. Abigail, you're on the Ken Coleman Show.
Hey, Ken. Thanks for taking my call.
Sure. How can I help?
So I was laid off from my job. I work as an art coordinator for a print company.
Uh-huh.
And I pivoted to take classes online for UX design.
Okay.
So I'm hoping or anticipating that as I study and gain new skills for about 5 months, I'd be able to weather this through and find a new job.
Okay.
So I was wondering if I had the opportunity to get my job back, because it's only a temporary layoff.
Right.
Should I take that, or should I just stay on the unemployment and focus for the 5 months completely on the online courses?
Well, what's the financial difference if you go back to work versus drawing unemployment? Because you can't draw unemployment forever, and you've got to show that you're applying for jobs. So there are conditions to unemployment. I'm not sure, to be frank, if that condition or that requirement goes away if you've been laid off for the coronavirus, if you have to show that you're applying and trying to get out there. So I'm not a fan of just taking unemployment and, kicking the can down the road and telling, the state, well, I'm looking for a job, but you're really not. You're just kind of filling out the requirement. I'm not a fan of that. But I don't want to put you on the spot here. My question is, what's the difference between the unemployment benefits and the salary or the hourly rate you would make if you go back to work?
Well, first, I don't have any debt and I live with my mom. So the unemployment would be enough to cover my expenses right now.
Right.
So I'm not too worried about
what would be the negative in going back to work and actually making money and making more money? So you just answer the question without answering it. You would make more money in your job and then going to school on the side anyway. I mean, is there a timeline you think if you stay home and draw unemployment that you're going to get through the UX design education faster?
Yeah, I think that if I focused 100% on it, then I would be able to get through the courses faster, because the job that I do have is pretty stressful. And so right now I don't have that stress having to be there. And I think that I would be able to put on my focus and get through the program faster.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah, I just wanted to know where your head is at. Gosh, Abigail, this is not a political talk radio show where I'm trying to treat callers like props. I love this. I love the American people around the globe that call in the show. I deeply care about you. So this isn't fun for me, what I'm about to say. But I must be honest. I am not in favor And I would not recommend you drawing unemployment when you have a job that's available to you. I'm just not a fan of that. I get your reasoning. It makes sense in your head. Logically, it makes sense. But I don't think it's ethically right. I just don't. I don't think it's right to take unemployment benefits when you have a job waiting on you, and that money could be used for somebody else who may be genuinely struggling to get back in. And that's what we're dealing with. I mean, I'll just be very honest with you and the rest of the audience here. With the numbers that have come out today and the numbers that are going to continue to come out, if our leaders, continue to, what I believe, cower in fear to a certain amount of the population, you're going to have unemployment benefits that are going to, it's already, phone lines are jammed. I'm reading stories. And we just can't keep printing money. So all that being said, I want you to know why I'm coming at my answer the way I am. I think you should go back to work. And I understand it's stressful, and when we're talking about the job economy coming back on some level, if you can get another job that's not as stressful, then that's what I would tell you to do. And it's more money. It's better for you anyway. Your timeline may be a little different, but I love that you're safe and you can stay with your mom right now. But no, I'm not in favor of you doing that. Somebody else needs those unemployment benefits. 844-747-2577. This is real stuff. Before I go to the next call, this is real stuff. People going, hey, I want to make some decisions here, and I'm going to keep drawing unemployment. But folks, all this stuff right now, I'm so sick of seeing celebrities and all these people, hashtag stay at home, do your duty. All of a sudden it's become this moral conviction. Let me tell you what else is, your contribution isn't just social distancing right now. Your contribution is, if you can work, you ought to work. Don't take an unemployment benefit that you don't need just because it advances the ball for you. Nobody's talking about that. That's not going to be popular. But the unemployment rolls are surging, and we just can't keep bailing. Our government can't just keep bailing us out. We can't. And listen, I'm an optimist, okay? But being an optimist doesn't mean that you aren't dealing with some of the facts. I'm optimistic that we will, in fact, come through this, and we will. But the way we come through it, that's up for debate right now. I'm not going to debate with you, but that's public policy right now. And so don't think of the greater good here, not just in social distancing, but our economy and people getting back to work and their livelihood. Well, Ken, you can't talk about livelihood if people aren't alive. Spare me right now. This is real stuff. I get it. It's no joke, this disease. I get it. But do your own homework. Start to look at, how do we mitigate but still participate in the economy? We got to start looking at that, folks. You're thinking it and feeling it. I'm not the only one. But this has a ripple effect. So please make a decision. If you can work, please work. Don't just take unemployment because you didn't like your job. 844-747-2577. Let's go to Brandon next in Salt Lake City. Brandon, you're on the Ken Coleman Show.
Thanks for having me, Ken. Pleasure to be here with you.
Well, I appreciate the call. How's it going?
Well, it's been a wild ride.
Yeah.
I've been kind of on an entrepreneurial path for the past couple of years, and I've got long-term questions and short-term questions. Had we talked a month ago, it would have been the long-term question discussion, but now I'm up against a short-term challenge with all of this corona craziness going on. Okay. So I'm a coach, and in that world, with my self-employment, it's all kind of shut down. So I, for an entrepreneurial venture, moved my family across the country from Florida to Utah to pursue a partnership and some funding that didn't materialize. And so we are trying to get back out to Florida, and I'm trying to get the income up so that I can do that. I have a very seasonal summer income that is looking like it may be shut down. and I'm trying to find a way, aside from just hustling through the gig economy with the Shipt and Instacart and delivery services like that, which I'm doing now, trying to find a way to make enough to get ends to meet. I'd love to find a way to work on the stuff that I know I'm passionate about, but even if I've got to just do deliveries all the time, I just don't know if I can make enough to make that happen, and you know, for renters to be, or landlords to be satisfied for us to rent once we get back out to Florida. It's been quite the journey. So I just was curious what your thoughts were on that, and if there's something I could do to get me back on my long-term goals and off of the short-term.
You can get back up there, but the speed at which you do that may be dictated by this craziness, and you have to acknowledge that. So let's break down because when I hear complexity, you just threw a bunch of complexity at me, and that's okay. That's why I'm here. But the secret to clarity and complexity is to simplify, right? So we simplify all that complexity. All right.
Okay.
So the ultimate goal is to be doing coaching. What kind of coaching?
So I'm a professional wakeboard coach.
Professional wakeboard coach. That's a premium business, right? People that got a lot of disposable income are the ones hiring you for that, right?
Yes. Yep.
Okay. So good news, bad news. Good news is people that have that kind of income, they're going to come back pretty fast. You know what I mean? Yep. So you got to be around where those people are. Not sure why a guy who wants to be a professional wakeboarding coach is in Utah, though.
Well, yeah, it's a long story. I'm trying to start a tech business based around this, and there was some partners out here that I was going to be working with. I also have some family out here that we were living with temporarily, which in hindsight maybe wasn't the smartest idea. So we're kind of stuck. We're trying to get out.
Right, but you're still living with them now?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good thing, actually. You need to bite your lip. Let me just go ahead and address whatever tension exists there. You need to get over that real fast. And right now, you're going to need to stay there. That's that was where I was going next. You moving to Florida right now in the midst of this thing is not a priority. It might be in 2 months. It might be in 3 months. But right now, that's not a priority. So you need to change your goals. Not change your goals. You need to reorder your goals. So the move to Florida doesn't need to be top 2 or 3 goals right now. What you need to be doing right now is saving up money, as much money as you can, so that when this thing gets back to some type of semi-normal, you can move to Florida. And you've got the cash to do it. You got the cash in the bank, and you can say, hey, I can, and if they look at you and they go, well, you're not employed right now, you can go, yeah, but I've got 6 months. I can put a 6-month deposit down. There are ways to get around this. And trust me, landlords are going to be really thrilled to see some cash coming out of this deal.
Yeah, we've got about 3 months right now.
Good. So bust it. Right now, your gig economy, you're doing whatever you can in Utah. You're staying with family, so your expenses are low. And this is about short-term, crazy, maniacal focus on just hoarding cash, whether saving it or making some more. That's what you do. Now, when this thing gets back to normal, because the last I read, the governor of Florida's got checkpoints at the border. So you going to Florida right now doesn't make any sense. But I just think this is about, hey, family, this is what we're going to do. And this is short-term, but we've got a short-term plan. And then that allows us to move to Florida. And you move to Florida with the cash, and I wouldn't move until maybe you got a gig set up over there in Florida. And so when we move, we don't have any interruption of income, plus we got cash, and you go and you make sure you live within 30 to 45-minute drive of a lot of wealthy people near the coast, because that's where you need to be.
No, I travel to my students. They don't come to me.
Oh, well, that's even better.
It's a little different.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I didn't realize that.
I'm trying to line up a job out there to have secured before we move. That would be the plan.
Good.
I have no interruption.
Good. So you're in good shape, man. Here's the deal. I think the only thing you need to hear from me is relax on the timeline trying to get to Florida. Let's just shore things up right now.
Okay.
shore things up. That's what I'm doing in my mind. I had some things, some plans. Stacey and I had some plans. We were thinking through some things, and I'm just going, I'm going to sit tight right now. I'm going to sit tight. Let's see what happens. And I think that's the best thing for you right now. But I don't want you chasing any kind of crazy technology partnership. Let's just build that business. I think going forward for you, my challenge is for you to become the best wakeboard person in 5-6 states, where you become, over the next year to 3 years, your name is dropped all over the place. That's what you ought to be focusing on, because that's what you want to do. And if you got to do gigs while you're doing that, do that. But if I'm like you right now, I think this coronavirus crisis is setting you up beautifully for you to go, hey, I'm going to adjust big time, and I'm going to hold things really, really tight, and I'm going to prepare, and I'm going to do 2 or 3 things, and I'm going to build this thing, and I'm all in on this thing. But that means I'm going to support myself with a day job so that I can fully commit to the dream job. See, that's what I was able to do. When Stacey and I committed together that I was going to chase this radio thing and television thing and this media thing, and I was 31 years of age and I didn't know anybody and I didn't have a degree in it, I had to support Stacey and the kids. We had to come together and go, this is what we're going to do as the day job. And it's going to slow my timeline down to getting to the dream. However, even though it's going to slow my timeline down, it's going to allow me to never lose focus and to fully commit, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, physically commit. The time. Why? Because I had stability, and so I could stay the course. Now, the flip side is, if you don't have stability, you go, well, Ken, I could give more time to it. Yeah, until you can't pay the bills. Until you're so freaked out about groceries and be able to pay for the car or whatever it is, and now you can't focus at all on the dream. And you have to press pause, and that kind of creates all kinds of distress. Folks, that's what is happening to us right now, is a existential crisis as press pause on everything. And it is really wreaking havoc. So step out of that for a moment, our current reality, and go, wait a second. If I want to live the dream and be in the dream job, whether it's starting your own business or going after a career, you realize it might take me longer if I operate out of stability, which means I've got a day job and I'm pursuing the dream job. It may take longer, yes, but it will actually almost guarantee you that you're going to get there because you can fully commit. See, I'm not hung up on how fast I get there. I just want to get there. You got to have that mindset. All right, let's go to the chat room. Curtis Smelly, I think we need to look at fear versus actual danger and weigh the pros and cons of our economic future. The world is not ending. We need talks of how we will ease back into our normal starting today. Curtis, I completely agree with you. Thanks for sharing the opinion. What do you think? What's the balance? Stay at home for 30, 60 more days, see the unemployment rolls jump from 6 million to 10 to 15 to 20 to 35, 40 million people, to deal with depression and anxiety on that level, to deal with social unrest. What's the answer? What's the combination? What would you tell the president? What would you tell your governor? What would you tell Congress? I want to know. Yolanda P. writes in, Ken, my concern is that companies that let employees go will rehire them at a lower pay. It's a legitimate concern. Corey Kai, I think companies will always lay people off to pay less for the same work. That's why people need to focus on working for themselves. Not bad advice. Grace Fair, I will be using credit, to live off if I'm off work for 3 weeks. That's the state of my economy as a single mother of 2. Just paid my debts off. So sad. Oh my gosh. Grace, where do you live? Grace, will you reach out? Will you email me, ask@kencoleman.com? I'm curious to know where you live. Will you go to my Facebook group, the official Ken Coleman Facebook group. It's called the official Ken Coleman community on Facebook. Go to that, Grace, and tell people your situation. Jump in here on the chat room, folks. If you're Grace, fire away. Let's see if she's a single mother of 2. She just paid her debts off. Let's see if we can get her some money coming in. Gig economy. Grace, look into unemployment. Get at least going there. Let's come up with something here. Let's not wait for 3 weeks to do something. She says, I feel like the road to the dream job just got a little longer. How can I stay hopeful? All right, I want to address that. It did get a little longer, but your dream didn't go away. It did not go away. It has not evaporated. It may take a little longer. How can you remain hopeful? I'll tell you how you could be hopeful. Because you're clear. You know what the dream job is. And this is a temporary, albeit very painful, disruption. You're a single mother of 2. You're a hero. I don't know anybody on the planet stronger than a single mom. Don't be afraid to ask for help. I want you to ask for help. I want you to do whatever it takes. A family member, if you got to shack up with them, you got to get some help, whatever you got to do. Let's just keep some money coming in. Take care of those babies, take care of those 4 walls. If you got to ask for delay in rent or your mortgage, you need help with food, transportation, whatever you got to do. Let's not take out a credit card. You work so hard. Let's see if we can get you through the next 2 months. Scrapping, fighting, scrimping, whatever. Do whatever it takes. Let's see if we can get you some help. Folks, if we can help Grace, let's do that. I want to know what you think. Reach out to me on Twitter, @Ken Coleman. Instagram, @Ken Coleman. Facebook page, Ken Coleman Show. Email us, ask@kencoleman.com. Call 844-747-2577. I'm doing a lot of media. I want to be able to tell the media, here's what real people are telling me. What do you want our leaders to do? Is it all healthcare driving the policy? Do we have to have some focus on let's get people back to work? What do we do when we get back to work? Where's your fear factor? What's the greatest concern to you? I want to know what you think. I don't want to assume. I want to know what you think. 844-747-2577. I want to teach briefly on the law of the zip code. This is a concept I've talked about on this program a lot. I wrote about it in my #1 best-selling book, The Proximity Principle, but I want to talk about it and I want to just tweak it a little bit. The law is still true. The law says that everything you need to get started is already around you. I came up with this law after talking to so many callers who would say, they'd call in and they felt like they couldn't pursue their dream job. They couldn't pursue the career, the work that they knew they were created to do because they felt like they had to move somewhere in order to make progress. Now, the reality is that there may be a time in your journey where you do have to move geographically, changing your zip code. However, the idea of having to move and you look at your current situation and you go, I can't move right now. Well, that's true, but that paralyzes you. It actually keeps a lot of people from doing anything. And so that's why I came up with the law of the zip code, which again says in order to do, that everything you need to get started is already around you. So what does that mean right now in the coronavirus? You got kicked out of the nest, you've been furloughed, you've been laid off, whatever. Or you're just working from home and you're already working from home. You're already in a job that you really don't love, but you're glad to have it right now and you're working from home. And so you've got a lot more time on your hands. You're kind of in isolation. You're going, what can I do? How do I get out of this situation? Well, again, everything you need to get started is already around you. Can you do some free webinars? If they're not doing them, what can you watch on YouTube? What can you listen to in a podcast? What book can you read? What audiobook can you listen to? Who can you study right now? What research can you do that gets you in a position to actually start or allows you to launch on some level? You can get started on the dream even in isolation. That's what I want you to hear. Don't miss this opportunity. So many people say, oh, I just wish I had the time. Well, let me tell you something. You got the time, some of you. Make it count. Make it count. The law of the zip code. You have everything you need to get started already around you. Might be a small, super tiny start, but you can start. So, what can you do today? How can you begin to prepare for the future today? Don't just wallow in uncertainty and anxiety. Get busy. Get busy. 844-747-2577. Let's go to Edward, who joins us in Jacksonville, North Carolina. Edward, you're on the Ken Coleman Show.
Hello, Ken. How are you today?
I'm living the dream, Edward. What's going on?
I just called you because I've got a couple of questions, and I am lacking a little bit of clarity and guidance in my life right now. I'm currently serving in the military, and I've only got a little less than 2 weeks left before I end up leaving and going back home to Birmingham, Alabama.
Okay.
I am still trying to look for. I'm in your. I guess it's between stage 1 and 2 of your certain stages.
So get clear is stage 1 and get qualified is stage 2. And you're in between?
A little bit of both.
Okay.
I've been trying to do research on what my next step will be.
Okay.
I do wrestle with a lot of, I think, what you called lizard brain.
Yeah.
And between finding a job when I get back, the coronavirus is causing some complications.
Okay.
But also, I am going to be trying to do an inter-service transfer to the Army, but that could, thanks to the coronavirus, that could take actually quite a bit of time.
Okay.
And I do have a rough draft resume that I'm trying to create, but as of right now, I'm just kind of drawing the blank as to what I can and should do next. Okay. I don't really know which ones. I've been trying to Google jobs in Birmingham, but I don't really know how to market myself. Okay.
All right, let's break this thing down. What's the big? So you know the big picture, right?
I have an idea.
Okay, tell me what that is. Let's start there. And don't get all hung up on how you get there. That's what I think you're locked up on. So if you say you're in between stage 1 and 2, my 7 stages for living the dream, meaningful work, stage 1 is get clear, stage 2 is get qualified. So what is that? You kind of have an idea. What is it? What's that bright future that if you could just give it to yourself today, what is it?
I'd say a detective.
A detective. Investigator. Fantastic. That's pretty darn clear. Okay. Tell me your why. I want to know why that gives you the juice, why you think about that, and why you want to do that.
I'm just kind of, I'm quite fond of justice, of exploration, adventure.
Yeah. Good.
Solving puzzles.
Yeah. Okay. So you would be not a private investigator. I guess maybe that's an option down the road, but this would be an actual detective for a police department, correct?
Police department or within the military.
Okay, great. Now, here's what's interesting. Now you got 2 paths that you just identified. One is military police and doing investigating with the military. And the other is, I'm guessing, correct me if I'm wrong, is heading back to Birmingham, Alabama and being on the local police force there. Am I right?
Well, going back to Alabama was just to find a side job until I could get back.
Okay.
Until I could do.
Okay, so the point is, you're open to being an investigator in any police department in America as long as it's a good situation and a good community. Correct? You're wide open.
Well, that's part of it, but one of my dream goals, because I'm quite a goal-driven person, even though I've had a lot of setbacks. I did have an original aspiration to become special forces within the military.
Okay, well, you didn't tell me that. And you told me that the big dream was being a detective. Now you're telling me the big dream is to go into special forces.
Well, I kind of wanted to. It's not that I'm lying to you. It's just that I'm
no.
I've got confusion.
I don't think you're lying. I'm just telling you, I need your heart to tell me what the real thing is. Your head is so wrapped up right now, your brain's a pretzel. Am I right?
Pretty much.
Yeah. Stop thinking and start feeling. Now let's do this again. Edward, if I could wave my Ken Coleman Show pencil around in the air like I'm doing right here on the camera, and I'd go poof, and I give Edward what he wants. I mean, like, this is the dream, man. Like, this is top of the mountain. What does your heart tell you? Is it private investigator? Is it investigator on a police force? Or is it special forces killing bad guys and making America free? What is it?
Special forces.
Is there any question about that in your head right now?
No.
So it's clearly that's the winner.
Yes.
Okay, then. So stop doubting that. Your heart is as clear as it can be, yes or no?
Yes.
All right, then. So why are we even discussing? Well, we aren't. We aren't going to discuss being a police investigator anymore. So if you want to be on special forces in the military, you know what the path is, correct? There's a certain amount of qualification and training that has to happen for you to get selected for that, correct?
Yes.
Do you know exactly what that is?
No.
You probably should find out. That's stage 2. So stop thinking about the police force and start going, okay, what is the path? How does someone become special forces? Do you know what branch you want to be in? Is it the same branch you're in now, or would it be a different branch?
It'd be a different branch.
All right, you better figure that out quick. And I would start with your commanding officer, or I would start with somebody that you already know. You're in the military. I would not get out in the next 2 weeks. Unless
I don't really have
you don't have a choice. Okay. Well, dude.
No, the contract is over.
Oh, okay. I got you. Well, here's the deal. You have a pretty easy list for you to just talk to of people who can tell you, yep, this is what it takes for you to make it in special forces. You got to know that, because now it's not so scary when you realize, oh, this is what I would have to do. So this is all about stage 2, getting qualified. And at some point you're going to have to make it through a super intense qualification process. I've interviewed Navy SEALs, multiple Navy SEALs. I know how rough it is, what they tell me. I don't know anything. What am I talking about? But I know what they tell me. And so, Edward, that's your path. So this is simple. What is the path to being in special forces in this XYZ branch of the military, whichever branch you want to be in? And now it's everything you got towards that. So you're going to have to re-enlist, it sounds like to me. And again, they can tell you what to do and how to do it, but that's your focus. Stop being distracted by, because here's the deal. If you fail, you're still an amazing man, and a bad man too, just to make it as far as all the way. If you don't make it, you could still fall back into some other type of military work or that police force work. But you got to go for the thing that your heart's telling you got to go for. You got to go for it. Oh, you regret it the rest of your life. Go. Get after it. The person who aims for nothing hits it every time. Go for it. Well, folks, my time is almost up, but I want to let you know that you matter and you do have what it takes. Thank you so much for joining the conversation. Until next time, this is the Ken Coleman Show. Press on.